New walls are up at the Haunted Mansion and Galaxy's Edge, but that means that some walls are down at Tiana's Bayou Adventure. This might be the most excited I've ever been to do a construction update for the Mark Twain. I can't wait to see what this looks like. Plus the latest from the Haunted Mansion, where we can see the entrance and some tombstones, new permits, views from Pixar Pal Around, and lots more. And that includes this scene in the esplanade and the entry gates to Disneyland. Walk into the parks and you'll see 3 sets of walls popping out into the esplanade from the gates, extending from the gates out into the esplanade. And obviously that raises questions every time you see something like this. They're very ominous looking. What are they for? You know, the common thought was, yeah, these are for the new gates, the new turnstiles that are being installed at Disneyland. And while that might be true in the long run, that's not what the actual purpose is today. They aren't doing anything with the gates today. You'll notice that the walls aren't even connected to any of the turnstiles. This first one, the turnstile is actually open on the other side of that wall right there. The second one connects not to a turnstile, but to one of the office structures that separate the 2 sections of turnstiles. And then the third one is, again, not a turnstile at all. It's actually out in front of the gates, those big wide gates that separate the turnstiles from the gift shop to the left. My understanding is that this is for electrical. There's a permit that was filed back in December to replace, according to this permit, automatic transfer switches, new disconnect switch, and provide new power feeds. And this is for the turnstiles out in front of Disneyland Resort. Now, we haven't seen any sort of construction out in the esplanade since this permit was filed, so I'm going to go ahead and assume that they are finally now getting to it. Now, it's still very likely that this is in relation to what they're going to be doing with the turnstiles. It could be in relation to providing new or different power source for those gates, so we'll stand by for that. But for now, don't expect any new turnstiles out in front of Disneyland in the immediate future. We do, by the way, have some shots from the monorail which we'll show you here in a little bit when we get back to downtown Disney. And those are somewhat illuminating, I will say. But let's get into the park, go to the Disneyland Railroad, say hi to Daisy Duck. She's greeting the guests waiting for the Disneyland Railroad to open. They hadn't yet dropped the rope. But eventually we got on our way, and I noticed when leaving the New Orleans Square Station on our way to Critter Country that some new, not steel, but wood stakes have been constructed. We'll get a better look at those when we get on the Mark Twain. But here is the current state of Critter Country. We can see some of that trench work that we saw last week has been filled in. That's where those construction workers right there are. You know, the path to the right and around that tree has been filled in. But what's really interesting, if we zoom in, all the way back there, that wall, the retaining wall that we saw them build, constructing that fortification next to the briar patch, looks like that's concrete now. That wall has been finished to some extent. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting to see what looks to be a concrete wall. I mean, the picture gets a little fuzzy if we zoom in and post, but that does look like concrete to me. So I'm curious, how are they getting guests from up there or are they? When I looked at the model at D23 back in 2022, one of the things that I observed is that while there's a path there, that's where you used to enter the queue. The proper entrance to the queue was from that path. It looked blocked off. They had built a fence there. And then, if you come around the other side, this, by the way, would explain the wall that they're building. You could see a stone wall there. That's the wall that they're building right now. I only have a picture of this for some reason. I didn't get video, but you can see right there, underneath those 2 trees, next to the briar patch, or what will be raised berets, there's a concrete wall there. Now I can't get around the other side to see if that path connects in some way, but I have a feeling that where the Tiana's Bayou Adventure sign is here, and where this fence is, that's the proper entrance to the queue, and it's going to wind around in that space around that tree and, you know, the other sort of thematic elements that they've added here. I'm not certain that path is going to connect to the queue proper. So that's what we're going to be looking for here, I guess, in the near future, is for them to build all this space, you know, where the ditch is, where everything that they've cut out there, that's going to create, that is the perimeter, the definition of that queue space, where all the little switchbacks and everything are going to be right up into the side of the briar patch and up against that concrete wall. And now I'm excited. Now I'm really looking forward to seeing how that develops. And we'll cut back to that, you know, the model footage as things develop, to see how closely they can get to resembling that. Something we noted on the way out of New Orleans Square or Credit Country is that there are scrims up now. Hungry Bear's closed. They are working on that as well. You could see that when we passed by, kind of barely leaving Critter Country. They are working on the Hungry Bear, and more than just, I thought it was just back a house. We actually have a permit on this as well. This one also was filed a while back, but we're starting to see the effects of it. They're going to change, or we've got a change of use, 900 square foot conversion of existing office to a kitchen extension. So they're going to grow the kitchen, plumbing, electrical, and equipment. I wonder why they felt that was necessary. That's already a good sized dining location. It's one of the bigger ones in the park. So they're hoping for more growth at the Hungry Bear, I guess. Go for our second lap on the train and stop again at Critter Country, this time looking back at the entrance to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And it looks like, have they? Yes, they have. Okay, so we can't see the main entrance, but to the left of that, to the left of the tree, you can see that they have stripped that facade down to the studs. You can see, yeah, you can see the metal studs there. And as we pass by this next tree, I think more of the same. The top part is still got the wood facade on there, but I do believe they have stripped what's below that scaffold. It does look like they're beginning that process. So that's Critter Country from the Disneyland Railroad. We've got, what, 3 more trips perhaps on the train before they close it down, before we have to look for other ways to catch up on the Critter Country. Hopefully Mark Twain will do the job. But let's get off the train in Toontown, show you that they have taken down the construction walls out in front of the popcorn cart out here. And you can see the new pavement that they have installed on the ground. I don't believe that this was for the new pavement. They were probably doing something else below grade. And then this is the resultant pavement. We'll head to Fantasyland. Stop off at Casey Jr. to give our weekly update on the train situation here. And that is that there is still just the one train. We should be seeing a train right now as that train's leaving on the other side over to the Quilt. That is the only train on the track. Otherwise, Fantasyland is in really good shape. Peter Pan looks great. Snow White, pretty busy this morning. Mr. Toad's doing well. Pinocchio's Daring Journey, not quite as popular, but still open. King Arthur Carousel. Dumbo the Flying Elephant. This is becoming one of my favorite rides. Storybook Land, all systems go. Even this one filed a couple months ago, and we should be seeing that happen soon, I think, I would imagine. 4 new umbrellas, non-folding umbrellas, cantilevered, over 8 feet tall with electrical. Now, where they're going to put those is a good question. I don't know. My expectation is somewhere where there is no shade, no tree cover. They don't need to put umbrellas up where there's trees. Trees are significantly better than actual umbrellas, in my opinion. So I would just, perhaps on the side of the mountain, if they have to extend the queue back that way. But they also said these, looks like these are going to be non-folding, which suggests that they are permanent. The foldable ones are temporary, I would imagine. Well, maybe not, but I would expect these to be permanent. Anyway, we'll keep our eyes open for some umbrellas here at the Matterhorn in the near future. For now, let's go to Galaxy's Edge. We're entering Galaxy's Edge here from the Fantasyland entrance on Big Thunder Trail. Gonna make that left and head back towards Rise of the Resistance, where we'll find some new signs up. Pathway secured to depart Black Spire Outpost. Utilize the pathways near the market, which is a very obtuse way of saying this path is closed. You cannot exit Galaxy's Edge through the Critter Country exit, the one over there by Rise of the Resistance. You can only exit from the Fantasyland entrance or exit and the Frontierland entrance or exit. Back at Rise, you can see there's another sign. They're reminding you often of this situation, that the way is closed, and if you do try to head in that direction, you will encounter some cast members there reminding you once more that this path is closed. It will be in this condition until they finish Critter Country, which, you know, and that means the Briar Patch and all that, until they finish Critter Country and the Hungry Bear. And that also means, I believe, until they finish Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I think it's all going to happen all at once. By the way, when I was here on this morning, about 11 a.m., it was a 35-minute wait. That is different. That is a new development. Speaking of signs telling you where things are, they are trying to remind guests throughout, I would say, New Orleans Square and Frontierland that you cannot, it's a gentle nudge. You can't get there from New Orleans Square. They're saying if you want to go to Galaxy's Edge, go that way. Go through Frontierland. Meanwhile, New Orleans Square is to the left. And then another sign here. This is where at the Pirates of the Caribbean Bridge. Galaxy's Edge to the right. Go through Frontierland. Hopefully that message gets through, because as we know, there is now a dead end at the Harbor Galley out in front of Haunted Mansion. This is the other side of this closed path, and you can see there's some guests are like, oh, what a drag. It's not open right now. So the way is shut here at Harbor Galley, and it will remain this way until they're done with Tiana's, I believe. And while we're in New Orleans Square, we'll stop by at the New Orleans Square train depot and see if we can see anything over the walls. Our view is a little bit blocked, though, because of all that equipment. But I'm seeing a lot of brick walls set up there. I mean, there's going to be stuff coming into focus here in the near future. I think that they are rapidly growing things out now that they've finished, you know, the below grade work that they've been doing. I'm not talking about the back area, the back queue. That's still got a long way to go. But out here in the front and in the common area, the space between Tiana's and Haunted Mansion, I feel like they are going or making progress towards starting to build. Took a trip up the treehouse real quick just to see if we can see anything new besides the Tiana's food sign, but that is still literally dominating our sightlines now at this point. There's no new construction happening on the top of the mountain there. It is complete. And there is, I still can't get used to that sign, man. It don't look right. Okay. We're looking down now from the treehouse towards this is the space. That's a lot of rubble right there. It looks like Harbor Galley on the right, Haunted Mansion on the left. We're looking right in between. This is that space in between those two locations. And it looks like something has been, concrete has been dug. Oh, you know what that is? That is rubble. That's concrete from the path that connects New Orleans Square to Critter Country, the path that is now closed. We'll get a look at that later on. And then here again is this crew working on building the brick walls there. A lot of movement, a lot of activity, although this looks about like as we left it last week. Let's get on the Mark Twain. And this is where I was this is like the most excited I've been in a long time to do a construction report because of the possibilities of what we might be able to see. Now that, because the walls are up, some other walls are going to come down. We'll start with the mansion exit, the crypt, to see what progress, if any, we can find of them constructing the gift shop. I can tell you that they have definitely begun pouring foundation here. They are working on that and getting things ready below grade, electrical conduit, all that kind of thing. That's what we saw them doing a week ago, and I have been able to confirm that with others, that they are pouring concrete in this space, and probably concrete for the attraction exit, you know, because it's going to be going up as a virtual queue, and you're just going to have two closed off paths, one going into the mansion, one coming out, surrounded by walls. It'll be a very direct, very direct route no theming whatsoever, except for maybe some signs on the walls. But so that concrete path is probably one of their top priorities. Taking a look at that queue space out in front in the pet cemetery, and last week we were marveling at the brick pillars that were being constructed. There they are. They're nearly complete. But look also here in the lower part of the frame, just over the green wall, you can see the rebar poking out. That's the actual pillars, the brick pillars that are the actual entrance to the attraction, the famed entrance to Haunted Mansion. That's what that is. Yeah, right now I'm seeing just the one. I'm not sure what that is to the left of it, but though, yeah, that rebar right there is the brick pillar. It looks like they haven't yet put on the brick veneers. A lot of digging, a lot of conduit and stuff back there. They're getting ready to finish off that space, which I can't, at least I hope so anyway. Back to the pet cemetery, and okay, so this is one of the coolest things that I have seen. The pet cemetery is on its way back. There's the frog. There's, I forget, is that a chipmunk or a squirrel? There's the cat. I think the dog is there as well. I think I saw the pig. All the animals are back in the pet cemetery in various states, including some other various tombstones. So they are in the process of restoring the pet cemetery, which is the reason why I'm excited about this is that it reminds us that they're gonna make this look like it did before. Okay, they're not gonna like change the Haunted Mansion in some drastic way. It's gonna look like it never happened, at least this part of it anyway. I'm sure there will be some changes out into the front lawn, and I've heard some rumors about the hearse that's out there. That they're gonna make the hearse a little bit more accessible to guests in terms of taking photos, etc. But some of those key scenes are going to look just like they did before, and that's, I feel, it's comforting to see that. It's comforting to see those pet cemetery tombstones coming back to the Haunted Mansion. We'll keep moving. Let's take a look at Tiana's Bayou Adventure. We mentioned that walls are down. These are the walls that I was referring to. That stretch, that path from the Harbor Galley to Critter Country that's closed. Because it's closed now and there's no guests, they were able to take those walls down so we can see a little bit more than we ever have been able to. Not so much from this particular perspective, but if we keep going, we'll see what I mean. The walls here at Critter Country have moved a bit, giving us a little bit more. You can see there's the wall with Lewis. Now it's just a tiny little fence with a scrim. So they've come down a little bit here. They've opened that up. We could see a little bit more clearly if it wasn't for that giant machine in the way. But panning to the left, this is where we can start seeing. There normally was a wall right there where the plastic tarp was, and that's the path. That's the concrete path, and that they've dug it up already. There's the rubble that we saw from the Adventureland treehouse. They've dug up that path, and so now I'm assuming they're going to put a new path down. Hopefully it's going to be something like what we saw at Tiana's at Magic Kingdom, which looks great. It gives us a nice clean view into the crypt. That's the exit right there, the triangular roofed building there. That's the crypt exit for the Haunted Mansion. We can see right down the line into the entrance to the building proper. Although there's not a lot happening in this scene, it's something that, if something does happen here, we'll be able to see it very clearly. And then again, the chewed up concrete walking path and all the rubble that has been left behind. So this is a view that we have not been able to have ever since the walls went up at the Haunted Mansion and Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Sliding back to the right to see if we can't spot anything new and newsworthy at Critter Country. Now the wall's blocking our view again. Still curious to find out what this electrical conduit is here for, but I'm sure it's for that, for the new queue area that they're building down there. I'm hoping they find some reason to take those walls down, these walls right here, in the future, because I would love to be able to see, but they probably won't because they don't want us to see. But You know, we can hope, I guess. And then passing Critter Country, there's Hungry Bear. It is behind Scrim and Scaffold as well. This suggests to me that they're doing more than just back-of-house stuff. We talked about them expanding the kitchen, but obviously they're probably doing some, you know, paint and polish on the Hungry Bear itself while it's closed. So Scrim and Scaffold are up, so expect new paint, new finishings, etc. on that space. Quick note before we leave New Orleans Square. Tiana's Palace, they have put, the construction walls have now consumed the stage for the Jambalaya Jazz Band or whoever plays there. I don't know, did the Royal Street Bachelor still play? That stage has been closed. It was open not long ago, but it is now closed, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. And with that, we'll head out to the rest of the park. Normally, this is the point where I would get on the monorail from Tomorrowland and head to downtown Disney, but my path has changed. There's no reason for me to get on the monorail in this direction because you can't really see anything anyway. So we walked it to downtown Disney on this day, passing the Earl of Sandwich. Latest on this is I'm hearing anecdotal stories that from cast who work at Earl's that they're going to stay here for a little while, and that they may stay here permanently. Now, I don't know what that means for Portos because I know that that's still an ongoing situation with Portos. So they are still doing the build out at Earl of Sandwich, you know, the temporary building by the ESPN zone. But they're going to be here for a little while, Earl's is, and it's possible that could be their final home. And then if it is, they'll build, you know, the building they were supposed to get from the beginning, that 2-story structure with a bar on top. Nothing to report from Tortilla Joe's. It's still in its same vacant state. No demo has begun here as of yet. In fact, they still have some tables set up. So that's how far not along they are. Parkside Market, yeah, Din Tai Fung is no longer in the news, so we can just start focusing on this space where not a lot is happening on the other side of that construction wall there. Still waiting to see some kind of development. Same for the retail buildings or building that has been, you know, we've been waiting for that to I feel like this is going to finish, that retail building. They're going to be able to open that before they open up Parkside Market. I feel like they're darn near done there. And again, as of last week, Scrim is up, so we can't really see what's happening at the Parkside Market. Very little to observe here. With that, we will turn right around, get on the monorail. On the way in, we see that Scrim and Scaffold is still up around the Indiana Jones show building. Not sure what they're doing, but they're in progress, whatever it is that they're doing. I'm assuming they're painting it, but in what way, it's still unknown. And then here's a look down at the main entrance to Disneyland in the Esplanade to see what's happening on the other side of those walls. And you can see they dug up some concrete there. A tree has been dug up also. I'm pretty sure that used to be a tree right there. Oh, perhaps not. They would have, the concrete around it would have been removed as well. So I'm not sure what that used to be. And there's a digger just waiting to do some work. So that's the one at the administrative building there. And then this is the one on the far right entrance side. And again, it looks like they've dug up some of that brickwork there. Looks like they're just getting started there. I would assume they're going to demo all of that surface in order to access whatever electrical systems they need to access down there. You can see the fence around the planter that's been removed. Looks like they're going to preserve that tree, though. That seems to be the case. We'll be on this monorail for a while, seeing how that develops. This is going to take a minute, I think. I don't expect this to be a quick job. With that, we'll go to DCA real quick to talk about the Doctor Strange show. It is now closed as of June 30th. The show is over. This is now an unused space. Don't know what's going to happen here. I've only heard vague rumors of them doing something temporary in this space, like a meet and greet type situation, but no future plans for this really wonderfully designed, purpose-built space for the Doctor Strange show that they are now just going to throw away. Really upsetting to me. It's beautiful, and now nobody's going to see it. Nobody's going to get to enjoy it. The Jeep is back. That's good. The Avengers Jeep. And we'll close with the ride on the Pixar Pal Around. Again, in an effort to see if we can establish a baseline, a starting point for any possible future work that may be done in relation to the Avengers e-ticket, I do fully expect this to be a thing, the e-ticket. And eventually we reach the top, and there is the Avengers building in the left of frame, Mission Breakout behind it, and that is backstage. That is the future destination of the e-ticket that we've been hearing about forever, and nothing has happened. What I'm looking for here is just any sort of change in the scene to indicate if there's action being taken. Like, we start seeing stuff here that wasn't there before, or stuff being removed, that might be an indication that things are beginning. But for now, it doesn't look like much is happening here. The only thing that I can see in this frame that looks at all interesting is that crane, the orange and yellow. I think it's a cherry picker, not a crane, a cherry picker, I think. Yeah, I don't know what those are for. Are those tents down there? Those could be some... It's hard to keep this thing controlled when you're zooming and moving. Okay. I think those are some temporary tents down there for staging, perhaps. And then, again, there's the cherry pickers. But, you know, we'll look and see if anything develops outside of that. Perhaps in a month or so, we'll come back. Probably right in time for D23, perhaps. And that is our construction update this week, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you like this show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. You can support our channel there. Then you can follow us on Instagram at _freshbaked, on Twitter at freshbakedisney, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at freshbakedisney. And then when you have a chance, watch our latest State of Universal report, where things are happening quickly at the Fast and Furious coaster, plus updates from around the park. Or enjoy our latest State of Disneyland report. Thank you guys for watching. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And fresh baked.